very good morning to you. Welcome to the agenda. And on the agenda this morning, we're looking at the role of RDCs in the fight against Ebola and, of course, outbreaks such as this. It is Good Morning Uganda, and welcome back from the business desk with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. Be part of the conversation, 0709-602-592. To have this conversation with us is Nalongo Phoebe Namulindwa, the RDC of Kasanda District. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, my dear, and good morning, our viewers.
Indeed, always a pleasure having you.
Mine too.
Right, now as of the 22nd of June 2026, Uganda has effectively stabilized the Ebola outbreak with no new confirmed cases or deaths reported since June 5th, 2026. Nationwide cumulative tally stands at 19 confirmed cases, 14 imported from the DRC and 5 from within Uganda, and 2 deaths so far recorded. Let's look at the role of the RDCs in this fight. And looking at Nalongo, you've been, as now you've been called the pandemic RDC, it looks like in every place of service, in one way or the other, you have to fight this. It has given you experience at that. Just paint the picture of what your experience has been.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity that UBC always gives us, honestly, because it's one platform that we use to get out or talk to the people or the viewers out there and Ugandans and the world at large. Like you said, I've referred to as the pandemic RDC, of course, because I've handled quite a number of pandemics. Yeah, because I was in Luero, and we had an outbreak of COVID, and then we also had previously there was also some bit of Ebola at that time. But then when I left Luero and went to Kasanda, I had Ebola. We were hit by Ebola, and then Mpox. Yeah, though Mpox is still, by the way, we still have some. We've had like 5 confirmed cases of Mpox, yes, alongside the fact that the country is on high alert with Ebola. So handling that has given me quite a number of experience, because number one, I am the president's eyes and ears on ground. So I have a mandate to ensure that I ensure that we implement all the directives that are coming from the center, okay, to ensure that we keep, when the president makes an oath, to ensure that he safeguards, or he makes an oath of ensuring that he has to secure all Ugandans and non-Ugandans, basically, I would say. So whoever is in Uganda, the president has a mandate. And right now, you know that the president also is trying to push so much for the issue of Pan-Africanism and then regional integration. So when you look at pandemics or diseases like, or outbreaks like Ebola, it's not only a Ugandan issue. It is actually a global threat, because once Ebola crosses borders like it is, it's a threat to, it's like a threat to the entire world, because one person can just take it to another country. So this has given me, because first of all, number one of the greatest things that I have to do as an RDC is I am the chair of the district task force. Yeah, because that's one thing I have to assemble. And this is a coordination committee where I have various stakeholders. I have implementing partners. I have the DHT team, that is the district health team. I have religious leaders. I have cultural leaders. I have local leaders. I have everyone who is responsible for ensuring that we keep our community safe. So all those are members of that coordination committee that trickles down to the sub-counties. So when we get to the sub-counties, we have the sub-county task forces that are chaired by the LC3. They have the GISOs there, because GISOs are like our eyes on ground, because they are supposed to tell us what transpires. So they are more or less like intelligence officers. So we have the GISOs, we have the OCs that, because I have the DPC up there, I have all those structures. I have the local leaders, I have the in-charges of the health facilities, I have the health assistants there. Then I also have, basically, if you have like community-based organizations within those particular sub-counties, they're also members. Then that goes down to the parishes, because you also have parish task forces that of course also have the chairman LC2, and it's the same thing. And then we also have the village health teams that have the VHTs, they have the chairman LC1 within the entire members, the 9 members. Then we also co-opt other people as need be. But our responsibility as an RDC is to ensure that you rejuvenate, you must rejuvenate, and ensure that if those committees are not there, you must ensure that you orient them on what they are supposed to do. Because Ebola and these other pandemics are fought with vigilance. Yeah, the most important thing is to ensure that you mobilize the community, you pass information to the community, and then you also give them the guidelines as they are given as the Ministry of Health or the President, as they guide us. So basically what you're supposed to do is to ensure that that information trickles down, and you need to ensure that they are adhered to strictly. Because right now what we are doing, because I was away, but then when I came back, we held a district task force. I called that meeting last week, basically to find ourselves or to try and discuss and see how prepared is Kasanda, the fact that we, in case we get an outbreak, and being that the whole country is on like standby class 1, you find that everyone must be prepared. So I tasked the DHT to ensure that they inform, they rejuvenate, we have all these task forces rejuvenated, and also to ensure that our health officers in these respective health centers, in case we have an outbreak, what do we do? We are lucky that I would say luck, okay, maybe I think it's luck, because we had, it's not long ago, that was in 2023 when I think we had the outbreak, and we were able to beat it in the simplest time. But that was because of the coordination. And when we had that pandemic, I'm sure the ministry helped us so much build capacity. So meaning that Kasanda is capable in case there is any pandemic or any outbreak that comes in, just like now, how we are managing, because we are on high alert for Ebola, but then we also have Mpox, because so far we have 5 confirmed cases, and the sensitization is ongoing in the communities, because this has broken out also in areas of where we have mines, the gold mines. Yeah, so I got in touch with the commandant there, the commandant of PMPU, that is the commandant of police mineral protection, and then also the local leaders there. So I've sent my team, the team is on ground, and what we found out was one of the causes that is actually leading to the high spread of this particular illness is it is sexually transmitted. Yeah, it's sexually transmitted. So, and mostly you find that all the people that are there tend to engage with irregular partners. So you find that we have embarked on a massive sensitization of the community to ensure that we try to fight this alongside the Ebola awareness, because we are hoping, since we have a lot of refugees, because people come for a livelihood to seek to try and get work to do in the mine. So we are on high alert as Kasanda, with also the region, that is Mubende, Chikube, and all the other districts, Chankwanzi and the rest, because we tend to share, and our people are so mobile. So we are trying so much. We're also looking at the screening that's being done at a small scale, but the most important thing is when we are getting alerts from the community, because we activated all the pillars that are required. IPC in health facilities, we have the lab team, the lab pillar is also active. We have the case management team is also active. We also have the risk communication. Right now we are fronting so much the issue of risk communication for communities to be aware. So once the community is aware, in case they get to find that there is someone who is exhibiting any kinds of signs, symptoms that are similar to those of Ebola, we've informed them. Then on Saturday, I was privileged to have joined a Zoom webinar that was where we had the ministry and health workers. Yeah, I think I was the only RDC who was part on that platform. But every time you get information, and I'm glad that they were talking to health workers and they were telling them how to be vigilant, because we've lost health workers before. But the other challenge, one thing that I raised in that meeting, I told them, like looking at Kasanda now and how we are grappling with Mpox, we find that people those that are suspected to have cases go to private clinics. And you know, most cases, private clinics tend to think about money. They are more or less money driven. And we've had all these other 5 cases. They were treated in what? Someone went to a health facility, rather to a private facility, and they did not disclose that information. So I tasked the DHO to ensure that he mobilizes all owners and also workers of the private clinics that we have in Kasanda, and I think next week we are going to have a meeting with them so that we get this information out there, so that they get to know that you do not have the right to conceal information. And eventually, when things get worse, they find themselves coming back to us. And it's something that we borrowed from the other time. Some of the cases, the first cases we got the other time when we had the Ebola outbreak. It was a private clinic. Someone went to a dentist. They came from Madudu, came to Kasanda, went there. So as we're doing contact tracing and surveillance, we found that it is, you know, they get them there, and then also the health workers, the one that died, comes from Kasanda, goes to Mitiana, and then proceeds. So it is important. One of the things that I have learned when you're fighting a pandemic or an outbreak is to ensure that right from the word go, you involve everyone. And once everyone is brought on board, then everyone can get to use the platforms. Everyone becomes an agent to ensure that they go and take the message to the community. Right. Yeah.
I love the picture you've painted, and when you say involving everyone, you remind me, allow me use the analogy of over the weekend I passed through Mubende into Kagadi for an introduction, and one of the different words that kept on coming up was, it's not easy coordinating adults. It's so difficult. So one would wonder, in the position of an RDC who's meant to ensure that Ebola or any other outbreaks are dealt with 360 holistically, as you have explained, how are you able to engage community collaboration, abiding by the law, and not just the community, in other words the locals, but community involving some of the lawmakers who sometimes go rogue and disrespect the law, yet they're supposed to respect it? How exactly are you able to coordinate all of this to interact swiftly so that you get the solution that you're seeking?
Yeah, so one of the things we do, because like you said, it's very difficult to deal with. You'd rather deal with a child, because children, you know, are meant to be guided. But when you're dealing with adults, you always hear how the
always question.
Yes, they always question why. The question is why. But nowadays kids also ask, because you just don't tell a child do this, they'll ask you why. Why am I doing this, mommy? And you're like, okay, this is serious. Yeah. So you have to explain. So the most important thing is for you not to assume that these are adults, that they know. So constantly you must be engaging. Constantly you must find means, because we always sit with the district health, rather education officer, the one who is responsible for disseminating health information, the health educator. So we sit with her, package the information that we take out to the community, and we constantly, it's unfortunate, Kasanda, of course we don't have a radio station, but we always we liaise with our neighbors, because RDCs are responsible for coordinating. It's not RDC's airtime like people say, but we coordinate that airtime that we're given for government programs. So my role is to ensure that if I have a radio station, like, I can be able to coordinate all the other departments to ensure that they utilize that particular time to speak to the people. So you do not assume. With outbreaks and health, it's not a joke. You don't assume that people know. So constantly, and then also ensuring that you identify people that actually speak to them so that they understand. So in that way, in that case, we don't separate, like I always use so much the local leaders, because these are people that are elected in the community. So one of the things that has actually helped me work so hard was the fact that there is a way I know almost all the chairpersons. in my district, the chairpersons of the villages. At least I have been to most of the villages. Being that I've been in Kasanda for close to some time, it has enabled me reach not all the villages, but at least the parishes. I've gone to the parishes, and people know that they have seen an RDC called Nalong or Phoebe somewhere. So this has helped me. I've also created parallel structures. I have assets on every, like most of the village, because these are the ones that give us information. But the key issue is to ensure that you involve them and let them know that this disease, for it to get out of the community, Ebola starts in the community, or this pandemic starts in the community, and they must end in the community. So it is through that vigilance and you giving them that information, because if a community, by the way, is aware of what they need to do, they actually stand up. So I had issues, like you said, the issue of some of our elders. In the previous fight, I remember, we had a very bad experience. And I remember, I think the president also talked about it, because I really grappled with the leadership at the district, because the chairman LC5 was doing his own things. I'm telling you. And there is a time I think he even wrote a letter chasing us from the district premises as we're in the middle of what? Of the fight. So it was really, really difficult, because I had to, and when I told, by then it was the Honorable Dr. Ruth Acheng, right, currently the Minister of ICT, I told him about what I was going through, and I think literally she did not believe. But when all the number of times she came to the district, you find that the MPs didn't attend the task force, because she would carry, and she would have the national task force, which sometimes I would chair, by the way, because they were in my district. And Honorable Minister, I thank you for that opportunity, because it gave me the experience. But then you find that the chairman LC5 would not be there. And when you don't have a chairman LC5 as an RDC, honestly, I'm telling you, you always find that you find it very difficult, because your role, even in the Land Act, is to ensure that you advise the chairman LC5. So if you have a chairman LC5 who does not want to be advised, because remember he's the political head of the district, then you find it difficult. But somehow I found that the fact that he was actually at the top, but his subordinates down were not subscribing to whatever he was doing. So we found that it became a bit easier for me to go down and be able to get to, because what was the sub-county and the parish and the village, those ones were very cooperative. So I ignored the head and went down and dealt with the stem and the roots, and we fought Ebola. So it's important that you try as much as possible to bring everyone on board. Yeah, use all the structures so that when they get information, and maybe something else that I would tell you about, of course, dealing with leaders, okay, and then also human beings, the fact that sometimes we don't want to listen. You find that given our culture, you know, people still run to traditional healers. They go to traditional healers. Even now, even MPEX, even the other time, we found that the traditional healers would go there as we were doing contact tracing during the surveillance period. We found that we would actually visit these shrines, because we find that some of those cases, the confirmed cases, people at some point find their way to the what? To the traditional healers, and then also you know. So it's important. Even now, when you look at MPOX, some of the other things is that as we are trying to try and do contact tracing, we found out that someone gets symptoms that are very similar to MPOX, okay, and then they run to a traditional healer. Okay,
very dire.
Yeah, it's
very dire at that. And you know, you talk about the involvement of leaders. I'm drawn back to what you said, that you had to attend a webinar, and clearly you were the only RDC involved, which is dire, because you'd wonder why aren't other RDCs participating in webinars such as this, because at the end of the day they are the tools they use on ground. But also the other example you've shared of having the Minister of Health on ground and no MP has shown up. No, the local council 5 is also having their own issues at that. How do you think the involvement of leaders, especially profound leaders such as the RDC, MP, how do you think their involvement affects the fight against outbreaks? Number one, those leaders are elected, they're duly elected by the citizenry. So meaning that they have, number one, they have
the mandate, okay, and people believe in them, because you cannot tell me that you elected a leader that you do not believe in. So that's what the leaders that come out basically portray the kind of people that are in those communities. So you find that if you do not have those leaders that you've talked about, it becomes a bit challenging. Not that you can't do it, but you need to have them on board, because when you have, like, two heads are better than one. So if one of the leaders, because they have a big constituency, can talk to their mobilizers, they can talk to, even people tend to believe so much in the people they have elected, okay, because they listen to the message. Even so, we found it very difficult, because at that time we were having issues of, I remember when the scenarios when we would go send people to the Ebola treatment center, okay, that was where we were trying to isolate these people, the units that had been set up in Kasanda and also Mubende. People would get there and they would receive calls from the community that, what, government is trying to take away your organs, what, if you stay there. And people, they would run away from the treatment centers. And if for you to be able, because you would have people, of course you would put the police there, but of course guarded, but then there is nothing much. They would just look at them running, because they have a right. You can't run after someone who has Ebola, and Ebola is a contact disease. So ideally I would not put, because it's my life first. So you look at them run back to community, and then community is busy telling us this person ran away from the treatment center. So it was, we were running back and forth. And then some of the leaders were in Kampala, and they would be on TVs here, talking about how government has come up with the disease, and they want to take gold, like they want to take people's land. So it was really crazy. But it is important that in matters concerning health, there are those general issues, because you can have your politics, but a leader, I believe a leader is supposed to be, however much, whether you support government or not, this is a government program and it's part of it. I have loved the fact that this time round, when the president was when he was speaking to having the State of Nations address, he talked to all leaders, okay? He told even the opposition MPs, he told them, now this is money has come. This is money coming from our coffers. Go and monitor, go and ensure that this money, your people get what? Because it's not like you're fighting because the money is there. Yes, this is the government in power. But because for us to be able to have transparency, accountability of whatever resources go there, go and talk to the people. So sometimes when people vote, certain people in offices, it becomes another, because some people think that you need a popularist vote. You become an opportunist. But health issues, that is what I always, like the appeal I have to everyone, including the leaders, because we've had issues, even when you have massive vaccination campaigns in the districts, you find that someone starts saying, there are leaders also who feel like they are demigods in these local villages. I'm telling you, a councillor, you get a councillor, and the councillor is saying, you're not coming here. And then you find health teams running about and saying, but I told my people that honestly, when it comes to a government program, ensure that the communication goes to them. So now there is no one who is going to come and stand in the way of a government program. Put your politics aside, let's ensure that our people are safe. You've seen nowadays, I think in 10 people, okay, you can find that only one, or in like 100 people, okay, you find that only one is disabled. So we fought polio, like the president said, because of the vaccination. So you cannot have a government that wants to kill its people. So you try to tell people so that they be able. So you try to tell people as much, as often as you can, to ensure that they get to understand why this is being done, so that we can do it collectively. Yes.
Very profound indeed, dealing with human beings. But we are looking at the role of RDCs and RCCs in the fight against Ebola and outbreaks such as this. And to have this conversation with us is Nalongo Fibinamulindwa Kasanda District RDC. Be part of the conversation, 0709 602 592. Allow me get into some of the comments coming in. Kimalini Michael, watching live from Bududa District. Question to Nalongo is, how do LC1 and LC2 benefit from such a task force? Because the fact is that for them, they sign huge allowances if such a calamity comes. Otherwise, thank you for the show. That's one. And someone else comes through and says, please use your titles as RDCs to advise the president that if government programs are to prosper, he should revise 400,000 salary for parish chiefs, and also reconsider the bicycles he wants to give to chiefs. It's not applicable after 40 years. This is Solomon in Kayunga. If you could speak into those two.
Okay, I think I'll start with Solomon. You know our president, because a parish chief, nowadays the parishes are still there. We still have parishes that are really big, honestly. Yeah, and it's true. Even the 400,000, it is the president that advocated for the 500,000, and also the extra, because they were given, I think it was below that, and then they were given another like 100,000 extra to ensure that they like rent, because they would say that, you know, it's difficult, what transport, accommodation and stuff like that. But you know, first of all, me I'm Uganda. They say, like you say, and I believe the parish chief we have in Kayunga, the one who had sent this, is working well. Now, the mandate of increasing salaries is entirely upon Parliament. That is what you know. I want you to task your leaders, the MPs you have sent, the ones you've elected currently, inform them, because every government program rotates around the parish chief, because you're a Muluka chief and you're supposed to be in the area. So inform them, because they're the ones that do the dissecting of the budget as they're increasing their salaries. Okay, for us we are glad. We've been RDCs, but you don't even want to know the salary I've been getting for the last 10 years. I've been getting, take home is like 1.7. That is the salary I've been getting as an RDC. You see them moving in cars, but you think they are loaded. Wapi! We've been handing that. And it's just of recent, though it's not going to be this financial year, because we're informed by our PS that we are going to be looked at in the next financial year, that is 27, 28. It's not 26 as people think. So we still have another year with but we are yes, of course you complain within, but I want you to direct your query to the right people. You voted MPs, put them at a task to ensure that they go in there and be able to advocate for an increment, because you're not so many. Yes, we have quite a number of Mirukas in what, but you talk to them, tell them as they increase that, because now the MPs are getting, you know what they are getting, I don't even want to talk about it. That's the truth. No offense, but I want you to task that to what? The MPs, because it's their mandate, entirely their mandate. Yeah, with the LC ones, they also get, is it? There has been a push for them to get 100K. That is the push. Yeah, but even for now, is it 10K? No, it is over 25, something like that. But even this that they are getting, because they get ex gratia. For us in Kasanda, they're always given like after what? After a financial year. That's when they normally pay them, like for the whole year. But you know, I always task them that please, the MPs, they are the advocates of salary increment. The government is doing restructuring, whereby, of course, I also believe that the remuneration wasn't really fair, because there are people that earn way too much and there are those that earn. But even you look at the president, what the salary the president keeps talking about, that most of you don't believe. But that's the money he gets. You get it. But now it is you to direct your questions to the right people. Those MPs, put them at a task, they'll go and push for it and it will pass. So someone talked about the LCs getting a huge, that they're looking at LC1s and LC2s. That's a very bad mindset, and that's what I always tell leaders. We are going to elect LCs, I think it's coming very soon. But I always tell people that when you come into leadership and what you're looking at is money, you will not serve. I'm telling you, because there is no money that is ever going to be enough. The amount of work we do cannot be equated to the pay. So when you come in with that kind of mindset, I'm telling you, you're going to be the one involved with getting kintu kidogo, because before a service is given, you tell someone, first give me, what are you offering me? Because that's the mindset. So get there. If you're meant to serve, I'm telling you, you'll go there, then the salary will find you. But if you feel that is not your thing, then don't be a leader. Because leaders come in and you're supposed to follow. But the issue of they are given allowances for every activity. It's called that little facilitation. It has nothing to do. It's very little. Sometimes it's 10,000. Though people tend to think, when you see a budget of, I have like over 500 something villages, and they put for me over 520 million. So you might assume that oh my God, chairman's at it. But come on, this is like every chairman is going to get 10,000 for the work that is being done. But when you see a budget that Kasanda has got 520 something million, you're like, but that is like, you've not You've not looked at the number of people that are going to be paid.
Right.
So it is a service that all of us have to do, and I don't want us to yes, we have obligations, we have responsibilities. That doesn't take away the fact that as a person, that where you need money, because for you to be able to do anything, but as a leader, you must ensure that you look at this person, this vulnerable person that has come to you, that is requesting for a service, and then you can be paid for that. Yes.
Good morning, I'm Locke William Bush from Luzira. I probably have no questions, but I like the program. Thank you so much for being on. Hello, tell Madam, I think you meant RDC, not LC1, who is in the front line and getting a small money yet to get his signature and his stamp. I'm not so sure what exactly you're asking, but you could modify it so that we're able to comprehend what you're asking. Now, our time is always such an enemy, but let's look at the indicators of a community that is improving in line with preparedness when it comes to outbreaks. Given your experience over time with outbreaks, what are those telltale signs of a prepared community that anytime an outbreak comes, at least there's where to start from? That's not zero. Okay.
Yeah, number one, the frontline workers. Yeah, the frontline, I would call them, okay, we have the frontline and then the foot soldiers, okay? Those people that we use for perhaps the VHTs. Now, the ministry has also gone ahead and it has trained CHOOS, okay? Those are community health extension workers, and now those ones are also going to help, because these ones are stationed at at the parishes, and they are meant to help us be able to to coordinate with the with the VHTs, because VHTs have been in existence for some time. So when you have those, then you have the local leaders, okay, per village, because villages make up make up a parish. So these actually help us so much, because what you need to do is to ensure that you continuously talk to them and ensure that they are on high alert about whatever. A parish chief is supposed to make sure that they visit their communities. Do they have sanitation? How is the sanitation? What outbreaks do we have? Because the parish chief actually is a member of the sub-county task force. Because I believe, like what I always tell the chairman, is that you must be getting reports that are coming from the villages. Because every time you have these illnesses, because now before you request for medicine from NMS, you look at the health team sits and then looks at which drugs should we request for and what. So that information must be given to the GISOs, it must be given to the LCs, so that they get to know if it is malaria, what could be causing the increase in in malaria cases. If it is cholera outbreak, what should we do? Where is it coming from? What needs to be done? Because the most important thing is prevention. Okay, so if you have all these people getting information, right information from the communities, if we have maternal deaths, because what I love about the ministry is that nowadays, as Uganda is fighting for the maternal deaths, reduction in maternal deaths, child maternal deaths. So you find that every death must be accounted for. We have biostats at the district that are responsible for picking data from every health facility. And then we have those that are also supposed to do an analysis of the data that comes from every community. So that data is analyzed, and then we see where is the trend taking us, what is not being done right. So these foot soldiers down here are the ones that help us, and also ensuring that when you continuously talk to them, then they can get to know in case there is any outbreak, they are ready to to take action. Yeah,
right. Now our time is fast spent. As we close, allow me read this. Good morning, I'm Mikuma Jane watching from Paida Zombo. I commend Nalong for the great work and how I wish all other RDCs and RCCs emulate her. So receive your flowers. And on that note, what are your parting shots?
Yeah, my parting shots are, I want to thank UBC, of course, UBC TV, for the opportunity it gives us to talk to the community. But then I want to let everyone know that Uganda, because of the fact that, because of our location, yes, we have Ebola that is out there, but then also we also have other diseases, okay? So the health workers, we should ensure that as we're trying to tackle Ebola, we also ensure that we don't lose people because of what? Other illnesses. I'm glad we've not yet had any other confirmed case as of now. And what I encourage everyone is to stay vigilant. You must have numbers, phone numbers of your health teams. You must have numbers of your RDCs, police, or anyone in the community, so that in case you have any outbreak, even the LC, because the most immediate person is the chairman LC one, have their number and don't conceal information. In case you have anyone who is exhibiting signs like the ones they tell us, ensure that you report them. And also make sure you follow the standard operating procedures that have been set up by the ministry. Ebola can be fought. Ebola is not like COVID, which is spread through, it's a communicable disease. Right. This one is more or less like you touch someone, exposed, get exposed with it, and then you touch the soft part. Well, so if you can avoid that, wash your hands, put hand washing facilities in your homes, have soap, and we shall be able to fight Ebola. All right, yes. Indeed. And a reminder that Mpox is also still in the community. 5 confirmed cases in Kasanda. That means it could be anywhere. Not yet confirmed, but it could be anywhere. So stay vigilant. Indeed, bringing us to a close this particular conversation. Up next is GMU Sports, of course, looking at the highlights from the World Cup fever. Good morning.
Is on a mission. It's kind of a big thing. Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate science for healthy gums and strong teeth.